Final Fantasy VII Remake is a fantastic game. The story is incredible, the world and atmosphere is deep and thought provoking while also being goofy and colorful at the same time. The characters are iconic, and the combat is a fun combination of tactical turn based combat and real time action. Remake does an incredible job adapting the first few hours of the original Final Fantasy VII into a tight, focused action RPG. However, there are a few pain points specifically with Remake that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had the opportunity to address. Remake's design was incredibly linear, making a completionist run much more of a slog than it needed to be. While this linearity does allow Remake to focus on balancing each combat encounter to perfection, it also discourages variety and individualized playstyles, even if the materia and weapon systems allow for some good customization. While definitely more replayable than some games, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a good example of a game that you have to really love to justify playing through the entire thing again. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth feels like a true sequel in every sense of the word. It's been floated that this game feels very similar to Kingdom Hearts 2 in the sense that it is an evolution of the first game, and I would agree with that sentiment. 7 Rebirth aims incredibly high and manages to exceed every possible expectation I could have had for the game.
Way ahead of ya!
We have to help them!
Let's get to work.
Visual spoilers ahead for the endgame, but no story spoilers will be present in this review. Combat is largely an improvement from Remake, with 3 additional party members, Cloud and Aerith receiving some new base options, and the synergy system adding a whole new layer to combat. Synergy skills, which can be activated at any time, are an incredible tool that allows the player to feel like they're controlling the entire party in real-time combat, where the synergy abilities are reminiscent of dual techs from Chrono Trigger, acting as special attacks that have a variety of effects. One small downside has to do with expectations. As said at the top of this review, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a tight, focused action RPG, and so the systems feel in service to that. The linearity allows each encounter to feel intentionally placed, and most combat encounters don't feel like a waste of time in that game. Rebirth's combat system leans a little more into the RPG side of the action RPG equation, meaning that some of the more focused, intentional elements of Remake's combat is toned down in favor of more enemy variety and more variety in party composition, which for some might feel like a downgrade. However, the sheer amount of options on offer for the combat means it will never go stale, as through multiple sections of the game, the player will find themselves forced to change it up due to a forced party composition change or specific challenges requiring certain characters. Characters themselves also play radically different from one another. Cloud, Tifa, and Yuffie are all primarily damage dealers, with Cloud and Tifa taking on a more traditional bruiser-style role, where Yuffie functions more as an all-rounder thief. Aerith and Barra are your long rangers, dealing magic and physical damage respectively. Red 13 and Kate Sith are your 2 gimmick-based characters, with Red 13 revolving around options that revolve around his vengeance meter, and Kate Sith not only having actual die to roll, but also his Moogle robot that assists with damage. Personally, my favorite character to play is Yuffie because of her speed and ability to cover every type of weakness without magic, but someone could tell me their favorite character was Kate Sith, for instance, and I could totally understand why. When it comes to wow, this is falling apart very quickly. When it comes to level design, Rebirth settles itself somewhere between a typical Western open-world RPG and Xenoblade in terms of scope and structure. The way you traverse the world and climb towers and complete objectives is reminiscent of even games like Spider-Man 2 or even Sonic Frontiers, while the structure of the actual activities is much more similar to something like Shin Megami Tensei 5 or Xenoblade 3. The game is split across 6 regions of varying sizes, each with a long list of meaningful objectives to complete to fill out the map and unlock fast travel points. Rebirth is so big in scope, multiple times I found myself thinking, Wow, I can't believe that was optional content. All of Rebirth's content has meaning beyond just the joy of the game itself. Add on to this the absurd graphical quality and stellar art direction, and Rebirth often feels surreal to play just with the quality bar. However, this isn't where it ends. Rebirth is filled to bursting with minigames. At times, it feels like you can't turn around without running into another minigame. I would go so far as to say each minigame is lovingly crafted and feels like the work of a different team, given the variety of gameplay on offer and differences in HUD designs. From Fort Condor's return to the new Chocobo races to the new card game Queen's Blood, while not every minigame is a hit, there are so many that Rebirth manages to strike gold more than a few times. On the whole, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a near perfect sequel to its predecessor, building on everything it had to offer and then some. While I wouldn't recommend it as a first Final Fantasy game, I strongly recommend it to anybody who has played Remake, and even just to those who have played the original Final Fantasy VII. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and have a great rest of your day.